Betty gives it to Barkley. Barkley up the middle. Touchdown!
He was shot out of a cannon.
He's going to go again. Across the 40, 50, 15, 10-5. Touchdown! Saquon Barkley!
How good is that guy? How good is this guy?
How good have the Eagles been? Rocky end of the season last year, rocky beginning to the season. They've rattled off a win streak. They could be the team to beat in the NFC. Could be. Where do you stand, Hawk?
I still got the Lions. I got the Lions. I think the Lions have shown all season that they are, team number one in the NFC. Just by virtue of even look at the way that they play the inferior opponents. Like, they look like a well-coached, well-oiled machine. The talent there is just as good as the Eagles, and when they play bad teams, those bad teams look bad. A week ago was probably one of their worst games, but they lost Montgomery mid-game. Amon-Ra didn't have a great game, and still, this game was never in reach for the Indianapolis Colts, and that points to the Lions and the way that they play.
I thought you were talking about that 5-interception game. With
Texas. That was a bad game for Jared Goff, and they still won. Yep.
I think I'm moving off of the Lions. It took me a while to say that the Lions were the best in the league, and part of it, or the best in the NFC, and part of it was because the Eagles had been so long for such a long stretch. But the Eagles were in transition, and they have one of the best rosters in football. And the transition was from a D-line centric defense to a cornerback and secondary centric defense. And now that this defense has found its footing and those young corners are playing well, they really don't have any holes. Like, this roster, Brandon Graham's playing like he's a young kid again.
He's also done for the season.
Oh, we lost Brandon Graham?
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is playing like Jalen Carter. And the secondary, I think, is the man coverage ability they have allows them to play defense at a level that's higher than I believe. Despite what the advanced statistics tell you, it's higher and they're more flexible. Like, they have games where they blitz a lot. They have games where they play zone quite a bit. They have games where they play man a lot. That flexibility allows them, I think, to be more versatile going into the playoffs.
Hawk, you know what I like and what I value?
What is
my
that?
football team?
I have no idea.
Consistency. You know what I hate? When people can't see what they have right in front of them and they want the new thing. Their eyes start turning, they get bored because the consistency, you're just so consistently good. It's like, I'm bored. Let me try something else. That's Domonique.
I don't think we're talking about football now. I'm sorry. Have we gone there?
That's Domonique. It's sort of like, oh, well, I've kind of shifted from the Lions because the Eagles have looked so better, except it's so much better, except the Lions have been consistently good. What I love about the Lions is that Dan Campbell put it perfectly. When we play our game, it does not matter what we call and what we do because we can beat you in any number of ways. And that is what's so great. I talked to Graham Glasgow, their offensive lineman, and he said, we do outside zone, we do inside zone, we do a drop back, we do play action, we do so many things that we have defenses guessing and preparing for things that we may not even run.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about the offensive side of the ball. I don't disagree with you on the offensive side of the ball. The problem is on the defensive side of the ball, they don't have pass rushers. They blitz every single game. They blitz a lot, and they leave their corners who are playing well in man coverage. But that does not they don't have that same level of flexibility on defense that the Eagles have, and they both have the flexibility on
the last 3 games, they've pitched second half shutouts.
Yeah.
Like that, I just feel like when you look at okay, fine.
Listen, you got to give Aaron Glenn a ton of credit because he has done a fantastic job getting this defense. What Fox is saying about Vic Fangio and the Philadelphia Eagles defense, it has been a major shift, and he has these guys playing. All the guys, the Georgia guys who were struggling, have played significantly better. All these guys are all of a sudden pinning their ears back. And when you get into these kind of games, the difference for Detroit and the Eagles are who can finish it on defense. The Eagles can find a way to finish it. I'm not quite sure about the Lions. They can push the pocket inside, their edges, and listen, they get pressure on people because of the inside. That stops. When you play really good football teams, that's going to end up stopping. I think for me, I've been on the Eagles from the beginning of the season. I still like the Eagles, and they're ascending. The other part about Detroit, I'm going to say this, I played on these teams. I have played on these teams. When you are as good as they have been this early, the fatigue will set in. Because every week it's the same, man. You're expected to win by 20. You're expected, and listen, you're expected to do it this way. And by the time you get to the latter part of the season, that wears. I don't care what anybody's saying. That ends up wearing on you. This is a great football team. I'm not trying to knock them. I love Dan Campbell. I love the whole way. The Eagles have dealt with some nonsense already. They want to fire Sirianni. I mean, my God, bro, they want to fire the freaking head coach. Won 40 games. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the Eagles put up with this nonsense. I'm still going with the Eagles.
There is some element of that feels like we're seeing ghosts a little bit with the Detroit Lions. Like, we're talking about what could happen when there's been no evidence on the field that shows a drop-off. They've lost their best defensive player, one of the best defensive players in the league.
For sure.
And there still hasn't been a drop-off because, to your point, on the back end, they have guys like Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph who are the best safety tandem in the league, and they've upped their game.
Head and shoulders, the two most dominant teams in the NFC, maybe in the NFL, which is going to be fascinating to watch down the stretch. Same can't be said for the Jets and the New York Giants. We'll stick with the G-men for now. They have struggled from the opening kickoff. They sit 2-9. The quarterback saga is just the start of it. The latest, rookie receiver Malik Nabers frustrated after Sunday's loss. He called out his head coach, and then he tried to explain it further yesterday. Take a listen.
If I had an opportunity to go back and change the words that I said, I would, but I still stand on what I said. I said it. I don't have no regrets with what I said. Yeah, that's just the competitor in me. That's just how I'm wired. That's just who I am. I just don't like losing. I feel like if I had an opportunity to help the team win, I'm going to express that.
How about your reaction?
Nabers is sick of this nonsense. And we knew the type of guy they were drafting. We saw that in their interviews with him and Dable talking about him. So I actually love this. I don't care that he's a rookie. I don't care that he just got here. Sometimes young kids, they say it plain. And he's saying it plain. He's saying it's not the quarterback. The backtrack for me was he sat with Dable and he went through, like, this is how we were actually trying to get you the ball. And Nabers is like, okay, cool, you guys did try to get me the ball. But my point remains that we benched the quarterback. It has nothing to do with the quarterback, the effort, all of that stuff. And I love it because where's the leadership? I think this is the problem with losing Saquon, where you looked at him as just a running back, and that was the problem for the Giants. He was a voice in the locker room. He was a leader. He was a guy that guys could watch and say, okay, even when we're mired in like a losing streak or whatever, I come to work and I do the things. Now when I look at this roster, who are the people that are speaking up? And Malik Nabers is filling that void and saying, this is terrible, and I can't deal with this. I'm not a loser, and I don't want this on my football team.
When he knows he hasn't been able to showcase the best of his talents with what he has. I mean, Neek, where do you stand on this?
I mean, yesterday, Jeff and I went in on the Giants and about the decisions that they make that undercut the culture. And I think Kimberly brings up another decision that they made that undercut the culture of winning.
Amen.
And Malik Nabers is a winner. And he is tired of them doing loser stuff. And it's okay to be frustrated. So, like, when you have a guy who's played really well for you, been a shining star throughout all your ups and downs, played through injuries, been incredible, and you don't re-sign him, you don't reward him, that expresses something to the team. And it's not one decision that's big enough to destroy it, but it's connected with a series of decisions. And then the last one, the most ridiculous one, was them benching and releasing Daniel Jones and putting in DeVito.
This is the white flag.
And putting in DeVito. With 7 games left, you're telling your team that we don't care about how good you're going to be. And it's not just about winning, it's about their success. And we understand that players get paid when they play well on good teams. You're making this team worse.
Amen.
You're making my job tougher. You're making my life more difficult. You're compromising my dream. And you expect me to spend more time watching film, to go play hurt, to sacrifice in order to win. And it's like you're not doing your part of the end. You're not holding up your end of the bargain. It's frustrating, and I'm glad Malik Nabers called him out.
Yeah.
And there's a tactful way to do it.
I wish you wouldn't have said if I had to do it again. No, you would. You wouldn't change nothing you said because the team waved the flag, waved the white flag. I surrender. Not only that, Saquon gone, Lawrence gone. What's McKinney?
Yeah, McKinney's
gone. Their best players have walked out of their building. The arrogance of the front office and the coach of the Giants to allow this to happen and think you're going to cut your starting quarterback and go to the third string quarterback on your football team.
And everybody would say,
and everybody going to be like, hey, man, we're good. I'm going to go out there and fight my best fight.
No,
Bro, you do not fight your best fight.
Hey, guys, he's going to do this, though.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be fine.
It's all going to be okay. It is absolute nonsense what they did.
The worst thing you can do for a locker room is to prove that you're not trying to be competitive.
Yeah.
And when I was with the Browns in 2014, we started the season 7-4. Like, the Browns typically don't start the season 7-4. We were number 1 in the division.
I was going to say, I never even knew that happened. That's unbelievable.
And then we benched our quarterback. The coach decided to bench our quarterback for Johnny Manziel. And immediately, you can feel all the wind in the sail of the players in the locker room deflate because it felt like we knew that we weren't going to win. Not because Johnny wasn't a good player, but he wasn't at that point.
He wasn't ready.
For Malik Nabers, he is a competitor. You knew that coming in. Before he got drafted, he said, Daniel Jones better be able to get me the football.
Yep.
So it's not going to change
exactly
in this scenario
to
say, hey,
right.
Don't beat it out of him, Giants.
No,
Giants,
that's exactly what they're
please
gonna do,
don't beat it out of him.
And here's the thing with NFL franchises, the players die for the front office's sins.
Yeah.
And right now we're seeing that with both New York franchises.
That was a bar.
He got powered out here.